The arrival of the alien king. The night sky over New York shimmered with an unnatural glow. At first, people thought it was a meteor shower, tiny streaks of light darting across the clouds. Children pointed upward, tourists snapped pictures, and for a brief moment, the city forgot its troubles and stared at the heavens in awe. But or turned to terror when the streaks slowed, then stopped, suspended in the air like glowing daggers piercing through the atmosphere. The lights merged into a colossal shape, metallic and alive, stretching across the horizon. Within minutes, a massive alien warship eclipsed the moon, its underside bristling with spires, cannons, and symbols no human eye had ever seen. The ground trembled. Dogs barked. Car alarms wailed. The Hudson River rippled under the pressure of the ship's descent. And then came the sound, deep, thunderous, and ancient, like 1,000 voices chanting in unison. The people on the streets clutched their ears as the vibrations rattled windows and cracked pavement. From the belly of the monstrous ship, smaller crafts peeled away, spiraling downward like black locusts. Within minutes, the skyline swarmed with alien vessels. They descended upon Central Park, Times Square, the Brooklyn Bridge, and beyond. The invasion had begun. At the heart of this armada was a single figure, Zaltor, the alien king. He stepped forward from the shimmering gateway of his flagship, towering over even his own warriors. His armor glistened with an otherworldly green glow, carved with runes that pulsed as though alive. His eyes burned crimson, and his crown, a jagged ring of alien crystal, seemed to whisper with dark energy. Zaltor did not need weapons. His greatest arsenal was his mind. He extended his hand and the air rippled. Entire buildings groaned, their steel beams bending as if kneeling before him. People fell to their knees, not out of respect, but because their minds buckled under the weight of his psychic presence. He spoke, his voice thundering in every language at once. People of Earth, you are mine. 7,000 alien warriors poured onto the streets. They were not clumsy brutes but disciplined soldiers, clad in armor that shimmered like liquid obsidian. Their weapons glowed with plasma fire, and their chants echoed like a war drum through the canyons of skyscrapers. Human soldiers scrambled to respond. Jets roared overhead, tanks rolled into the avenues, and sirens screamed across Manhattan. But the sheer number of invaders dwarfed Earth's defenses. For every alien that fell, 2 more took its place. And then, like a primal roar cutting through the chaos, he appeared. The Hulk. A shockwave rippled outward as the green giant landed in the middle of Times Square, sending cars flying and asphalt shattering. His chest rose and fell like a raging bull, his eyes glowing with fury. Civilians scattered, pointing and cheering all at once. Hulk! Smash! With one leap, Hulk hurled himself into the horde of aliens. His fists crashed down with the force of meteors, pulverizing soldiers into dust. He tore a plasma cannon from its mount and used it as a club, sending warriors flying into the air. Every punch, every roar, was a declaration. Earth was not going to fall quietly. For a moment, hope flickered. Soldiers rallied behind Hulk's rampage, firing alongside him as he ripped through wave after wave. Alien ships exploded in fiery blossoms above, tumbling into the Hudson with plumes of smoke. But the alien king was watching. Zaltor raised one hand, and Hulk froze mid-swing. His mind shuddered, invaded by whispers and visions. Suddenly, Hulk was no longer in Times Square. In his mind, he was back in the moments that haunted him. The fear in people's eyes when they saw him, the endless rejection, the loneliness of being a monster. You are nothing but rage. Zaltor's voice echoed inside his skull. Your strength is chaos. You cannot protect them. You will destroy them. Hulk's roar turned to a scream. His fist shook, but they no longer struck true. He smashed cars instead of soldiers, swung wildly at illusions, his confusion growing with every passing second. The aliens swarmed him, chains of psychic energy wrapping around his arms and legs. For the first time, Hulk looked lost. The crowd gasped as the Green Titan stumbled. Alien blasts hammered him from all directions, driving him to one knee. His breathing grew heavy, his face twisted not with rage but with doubt. Zaltor descended from the sky, his shadow falling across Hulk. His crimson eyes locked on the broken warrior. This is your protector, he sneered, his voice booming across the city. This beast cannot save you. This beast cannot even save himself. And with a flick of his hand, Hulk was thrown across the plaza. crashing through a skyscraper with a thunderous explosion of glass and fire. Silence fell for a heartbeat. Civilians wept. Soldiers faltered. The alien king stood tall, his army chanting his name. Above, the sky was still dark, filled with alien ships blotting out the stars. And yet, somewhere beyond the clouds, a faint glow flickered, a streak of blue light cutting through the darkness. But it was not here yet. The city lay in ruin, Hulk lay defeated, and Earth trembled under the shadow of its new master. The invasion had only just begun. The fall of the Hulk. The dust had barely settled from the collapse of the skyscraper. Flames licked the sky, smoke billowed upward, and sirens wailed faintly under the roar of alien engines. At the heart of the ruin, Hulk stayed. He rose slowly, rubble sliding from his massive shoulders, his chest heaving with ragged breaths. But something was different. The rage that normally boiled uncontrollably inside him seemed fragmented. In its place were flashes of fear, doubt, and loneliness. The whispers of the alien king echoed in his mind like poisoned daggers. You will fail them all. They see you as a monster. You were never a hero, only a weapon of chaos. Hulk shook his head violently, roaring in an attempt to drown out the voices. He pounded his fists against the ground, cracking the asphalt, but the whispers only grew louder. Each word eroded his fury, twisting his strength into confusion. The alien king descended gracefully, his cloak of black-green energy trailing behind him. He walked across the air itself, each step humming with psychic resonance. The thousands of alien soldiers parted before him, bowing their heads in perfect synchronization. He raised a single hand. The chains of psychic light constricting Hulk tightened, glowing brighter. Hulk strained, his veins bulging, his muscles quivering under the invisible binds. But the more he fought, the heavier they became, like the weight of all his failures crushing him at once. You fight the inevitable, Zaltor boomed, his voice echoing not only across the city but inside every human mind. Civilians clutched their heads, screaming as his psychic command pulsed through them. This world will kneel. Your champion is broken. Watch as your beast crumbles beneath my will. Hulk roared again and, with a surge of fury, tore one glowing chain apart. The energy exploded like shattered glass, and for a moment, hope returned. He lunged forward, fists raised, eyes burning with determination. He swung at the alien king with a punch that could shatter mountains. But the blow never landed. Zaltor's crimson eyes flashed, and with a mere thought, Hulk froze mid-motion. A psychic wave rippled outward, warping the air. Hulk was hurled backward as though struck by an invisible hammer, smashing into the remains of a bus. The wreckage exploded, fire and smoke engulfing the green giant. The crowd of alien soldiers roared in triumph, their chant rising in rhythm. Zaltor! 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 From a rooftop nearby, human soldiers fired missiles and heavy rounds, desperately trying to distract the alien forces. A jet swooped low, unleashing rockets into the crowd, scattering dozens of warriors. For a heartbeat, the humans thought they might hold. But Zaltor raised his hand again. He whispered a single word in his alien tongue, and instantly, the minds of the human soldiers shattered. Screams filled the air as pilots lost control, jets spiraling into buildings in fiery wrecks. Tanks halted mid-street, their crews convulsing under psychic assault. The humans were undone without a single physical strike. Hulk staggered out of the fire, his skin scorched, his eyes wild. His roars were no longer the cries of unstoppable fury. They were screams of torment. He swung at phantoms only he could see, visions conjured by the alien king. In his mind, Hulk stood not in New York but in a twisted nightmare. He saw crowds of humans pointing at him with disgust. He saw Natasha's fearful eyes. He saw Banner's reflection shaking his head in shame. No one wants you. Zaltor's voice thundered inside him. They will never see a hero. Only a monster. The Hulk's knees buckled. He dropped to the ground, fists trembling, his roars fading into broken gasps. Zaltor approached, towering above the fallen giant. He placed his clawed hand against Hulk's forehead, and green psychic fire burned into the hero's mind. Sleep, beast, he hissed. Sleep, and let your world burn. Hulk's body convulsed. His massive arms slammed against the ground, cracking concrete, but his strength ebbed away. Slowly, impossibly, the unstoppable force of Earth's greatest warrior began to collapse. With one last defiant roar, Hulk tried to rise. His fists pounded the ground. His eyes locked onto the humans watching from the rubble. But instead of seeing admiration, he only saw fear. And then, he fell. The Hulk crashed onto the broken streets of New York, his chest rising shallowly, his fists unclenched. The world gasped. A terrible silence settled over the battlefield. The alien king stood triumphant, his army chanting louder, the rhythm shaking the city itself. His voice boomed like thunder. This is your mightiest warrior. Broken, beaten, doomed. If the beast cannot protect you, who can? The civilians hiding in the ruins wept openly. Soldiers lowered their weapons, despair flooding their hearts. Children clung to their parents, waiting for the end. Zaltor raised both arms to the sky. Above him, the mothership opened its core, revealing a massive weapon, a sphere of burning energy gathering at its heart. It was the size of a small moon, glowing brighter with every second. The weapon would erase New York in a single strike. Earth's lost hope had fallen. And then, across the night sky, something flickered. A faint streak of blue light pierced the darkness, cutting through the thick clouds. It grew brighter, closer, burning like a comet. The alien king turned his gaze upward, his eyes narrowing. The civilians noticed it too. They pointed, gasping, their disbelief faltering for the first time. And though the figure was still far away, the people whispered his name as though calling him into being. Superman. The chapter ended not with victory, but with silence, fear, and a fragile spark of hope streaking through the heavens. Hulk lay broken. The alien king stood invincible. And somewhere above, Superman was on his way. Rise of heroes. The ruins of New York smoldered under the weight of alien fire. Skyscrapers once proud now leaned as skeletal shadows against a blood-red sky. The air carried a heavy mix of smoke, ash, and the chilling roar of alien war machines hovering above. On the shattered ground, Hulk lay beaten, shackled in chains of pulsing alien energy, his massive chest rising and falling like the breath of a caged beast. Around him, thousands of alien soldiers howled in triumph, their voices echoing like thunder. The alien king raised his spear high. Its tip glowed with a crimson brilliance, humming with psychic energy that could cut through even Hulk's indomitable will. His voice boomed across the battlefield, cold and commanding. This world is mine. Even its strongest falls before me. The crowd of alien warriors slammed their weapons into the ground in unison, sending tremors through the earth. Hulk growled, his fury still alive but buried under exhaustion and defeat. His body wanted to rise, but his spirit faltered. The chains didn't just hold his body. They poisoned his mind with illusions of failure. And then, the wind shifted. A piercing streak of blue light cut across the dark sky. The soldiers stopped, their cheers fading into murmurs. Eyes turned upward as a figure descended, faster than the human eye could follow, glowing with a brilliance that split the smoke and shadow. Superman. He landed with the force of a thunderclap, his cape rippling against the inferno winds. The impact cracked the ground, sending alien soldiers stumbling backward. His eyes, glowing a fierce crimson, locked onto the alien king. Hulk raised his head weakly, the sight of Superman igniting a flicker of hope. "You're late," Hulk rasped, a pained smirk tugging at his lips. Superman knelt beside him, placing a steadying hand on his massive shoulder. His voice carried not just power but conviction, the kind that lifted hearts from despair. "You're not beaten. Not while Earth still stands. Get up, Hulk. The fight's not over." For the first time since the battle began, Hulk's chains trembled, not from alien energy, but from the surge of his own willpower. His rage returned, not mindless but focused. The alien king snarled, realizing his control was slipping. "Do you think your words will save him, Kryptonian?" The king spat, lifting his spear. "He is broken." Superman rose to his full height, his cape burning with reflected firelight. His voice was steel. "He's not broken. He's human at heart. That's something you'll never understand." The soldiers roared in anger and charged. Superman blurred forward, a streak of blue and red, his fists smashing through the front line like meteors. Each blow scattered armored warriors into the air. Heat vision blazed, slicing through alien weapons, igniting the battlefield with beams of pure fury. At the same moment, Hulk's roar shattered the night. His muscles bulged as green energy erupted from within, cracking the chains apart like brittle glass. He slammed his fists into the ground, sending shockwaves that toppled scores of alien soldiers. Rising to his full, towering height, Hulk's eyes burned with renewed determination. Hulk! Smash! The battlefield transformed. Superman soared through the sky, tearing warships from the air with raw strength, while Hulk waded into the sea of alien soldiers, scattering them like leaves before a storm. Together, they fought as one, fury and hope, rage and resolve. The alien king snarled, his crimson crown glowing brighter as he summoned every ounce of his psychic might. He expanded in size, his armor glowing with alien runes, becoming a towering giant. His spear elongated into a massive blade of energy, crackling with enough force to level a city. "Your world will kneel," he bellowed. But Earth's mightiest stood unbroken. Superman struck first, his fists clashing against the alien's weapon with explosive force, shockwaves splitting the air. Hulk followed, leaping with titanic strength, his fist smashing into the king's armor, denting it with a thunderous crack. Together, they pressed forward, neither giving the alien a chance to recover. Still, the alien king was no ordinary foe. His psychic attacks stabbed into their minds, showing them visions of defeat, of burning worlds, of hopeless futures. Hulk staggered for a moment, his body trembling. Superman gritted his teeth, his voice steady even in the storm. "Focus, Hulk. You are stronger than his lies." Hulk's roar tore through the illusion, shattering it like glass. With a renewed fury, he grabbed the alien king by the chest, holding him in place. Superman's eyes blazed, twin beams of heat vision striking the king's crown. Sparks flew, the crimson light faltering, cracking under the assault. The alien king screamed, his power unraveling. "No, I am eternal." With one last synchronized strike, Hulk smashed his fists into the king's body while Superman drove his punch into the crown. The explosion lit the night sky like a second sun. The alien army faltered, their psychic link broken. One by one, their weapons dimmed, their resolve shattering. The mothership above trembled, fires bursting along its hull as its control vanished. Alien ships broke formation, crashing into the ocean or retreating into the dark void of space. Silence fell. The battlefield, once drowned in chaos, now lay under the quiet crackle of dying fires. Hulk panted heavily, his chest heaving like thunder. Superman stood beside him, his cape torn but his spirit unbroken. They exchanged a glance, not of words, but of respect. Finally, Hulk grunted. "Not bad, for a guy in a cape." Superman chuckled softly, offering his hand. "And not bad, for the strongest there is." As dawn broke over the ruined city, Earth's heroes stood tall. Not broken, not beaten, but risen, together. The battle was over. For now. But above the clouds, hidden in the depths of the cosmos, darker shadows stared. The war for Earth had only just begun.